Okay, here's what we're going to do. I say the Girl Scout cookie, and you say who it goes to, or who it is.
Okay, that's a fun game. Okay. I'm ready to play.
You ready?
Okay, it'll be like word association. I'm just going to spit it out.
Trefoil.
Okay, Dorinda, because I hate those.
You hate trefoils?
Yeah, they're bleh. They're just dull.
They're classic.
Yeah. Well, no, not Dorinda is not. That's
Thin Mints.
Brandy, because she's kind of like minty and spicy.
Okay.
I don't know.
Tagalongs.
Taylor, because she just tags along with everybody else. Go.
Keep going. Lemon Ups.
Phaedra, because she's happy and sunshiny and brings joy to the episodes.
Samoas.
Tamara, because they're my favorite and she's my favorite.
S'mores.
Eva, because she likes to smoke and s'mores are like campfire-y.
Toffee-tastic.
They're kind of dry like Vicky was in this episode.
But they're my favorite.
They were really good, though. Okay. I was shocked. When you said gluten-free, I was like, stop trying to push your gluten-free.
And Vicky's probably gluten-free.
She probably is. I mean, she takes a lot of vitamins. Yeah. Whew, that was exciting.
Good job.
Okay. Hi, this is Caitlin.
And this is Sharon.
And welcome to Real Housewives on Real Housewives, where we unravel housewives' story threads and keep the tea flowing.
So chic.
Hold on to your carry-ons.
We're digging into Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2, Ex-Wives Club.
So the girls from different Housewives franchises spent 8 days in the Berkshires at Bluestone Manor, which is Dorinda's manor. It's in Massachusetts, which I had no idea until I Googled it. And then can we just agree to call it what Vicky called it, the Berkshires?
Yes.
Because I think that fits. Let's go ahead and go through the cast.
Okay, so we have Dorinda Medley from New York City, Jill Zarin, who comes a day late from New York City, from Atlanta, Phaedra Parks, and Ava Marcel, who was also one of the winners on America's Next Top Model.
Yes, I liked her when she was on that.
Yeah, Beverly Hills, we have Taylor Armstrong, who is actually now an OC, Brandy Glanville, and then OC, Vicky Gunvalson, and Tamra Barney.
Yes. Now, were any of those people new to you? They weren't to me.
Yeah. So Phaedra and Ava were new to me.
Okay.
And then Brandy, no, not Brandy, Vicky and Tamra were new to me.
Okay. So the ATL and the OC.
Yep.
All right. I guess the house manager, Marco, was new to me.
He was a cutie.
Yeah, he was a cutie. And I felt like, poor guy.
I know.
Rough for him. So our verses are going to be Dorinda versus her own demons, and me versus Dorinda, and then Brandy versus her own demons. And kind of our sort of like one sentence wrap up for this Ultimate Girls Trip too would be that Dorinda's, what's the word I want to use? Like her overbearing nature, I guess, her need to control everything.
Yeah.
Her drinking, her rudeness. I'm going to say ruins the whole girls' trip. Like, yes. I'm going to go Diana on this episode and just say I can't stand her.
Yeah. Everything about her ruins everything.
That's an even better way to say it. Way more succinct. I like it. All right. So we did the Bailey Q when we did Ultimate Girls Trip season 1. And what it was Cynthia Bailey had this set of like adjectives to describe each of the ladies, and they kind of voted on it. So we're going to do that for this one. And we're just going to kind of word association, throw it out.
All right. First we have sexiest.
I think Phaedra.
I did the same.
Yeah. She's just so pretty. And like her confidence.
Yeah.
Like her attitude is sexy too.
Definitely. Pettiest.
Dorinda.
Yes. I think we're going to have a lot the same this time.
I feel like, yeah.
Smartest.
I'm going to say Vicky on that. I know she didn't come off as that on this, but she's really run her own businesses. Like she's very successful. She's built up a lot from the bottom. I feel bad saying that because there's some areas where I disagree with her, but overall, like she's a pretty smart cookie.
Oh, okay. I wasn't really sure who to pick because I'm like, they all seem smart. Like Phaedra's a lawyer. I went with Eva because, I don't know, just something about her seemed smart to me.
I guess I would also say Jill Zarin. I didn't think of her at first, but she's she's just such a little source of knowledge. Like maybe not smartest, but like most encyclopedic.
You're right.
I think Vicky has the business smarts. I'm not sure Vicky's always smart in like her relationships or some of the choices she makes in her life. But like she runs a really big insurance company. And
Jill has businesses too.
That's true. That's true.
As we'll learn.
She'll tell you about it too.
prettiest?
Tamra. I've just always thought Tamra
That's who
is stunning.
I put too.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah, which I thought maybe I was like weird for things. Not weird for things. She's so pretty, but she's so pretty, and I can't even put my finger on it. Yeah.
No, she's genuinely pretty, and she hasn't messed with her face as much as a lot of the other housewives have, I think.
Shadiest.
Obviously, I'm going to pick. Well, I was going to say Dorinda again, but maybe Brandy. Brandy kind of says stuff and then expects that nobody's going to say stuff back.
I kind of get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Dorinda.
Yeah. I
mean, but you're right. Okay, I guess shady meaning like it's more under the...
Yeah.
Dorinda's just more rude and out there.
And Brandy's like clueless rude, if that's the thing.
Okay. Best butt.
Oh, Phaedra, for sure.
Yeah.
She had that cover-up over her swimsuit, and she wore that in Atlanta. Like, it was fun to see she recycled the outfit because she wore it's like kind of see-through fishnet-y kind of thing. Oh. And she had that on a trip where they went out with the husbands, and all the other women were like, she's wearing that in front of my husband. And it's like, I love that she like brought the famous outfit back. Yeah. Nice.
Sweetest.
For sweetest, I think Eva. She was so kind and polite. Like, Atlanta was kind and polite.
We were.
And Phaedra, too. I mean, she also just, like, she was with people who were ostracized. Yeah.
And then lastly, most fashionable.
Okay, you're going to roll your eyes at me. I almost don't want to tell you. I wrote Brandy. And I know it doesn't seem like that, but I kept trying to talk myself out of it. But like when I looked back, I liked the choices she made in her confessional looks. I liked the choices she made. Like she had this like Dutch blue and white top. And like when she showed up, she had that like army green romper and like sneakers on. And even the dress that was too short and would have been a great shirt. I mean, it was still sparkly and pretty. And I think for her age, she pulls off younger looks without looking desperate, and I'm kind of impressed by that.
I kind of felt like the silver sparkly one was kind of desperate looking. Yeah. And I don't want to join Dorinda's side at all. That really hurts me.
Maybe that's why.
But I did feel like it was a little like, I don't know.
It was, but it was still a pretty top, let's say. If you put pants with it, would you have liked it? I would have.
Maybe. Did you notice in her talking heads, her mouth moved a little differently?
Yeah, I did notice
something was
that.
wrong. Or?
I think she's done a lot of lip injections.
That's
and
what
stuff.
I was wondering. Maybe.
So. Yeah, it was a little off center almost at certain times. Oh, do you know what else is sad? I just read I think it was last week, but Eva and her husband Michael, they were so sweet talking on the trip, but they're filing for divorce, and I was bummed because on the show he just seems like a good guy, and he adopted her daughter, and she took his name, and they have 2 other kids. That bummed me out because she just seems like she deserved a nice relationship. I think she's been through some stuff. All right, let's start on our first verses, which is Dorinda versus her own demons, or as Tamara called it, can't we just have one good night?
And the answer is no.
No, because you invited Dorinda on this trip.
She invited you guys.
That's true. Yeah, no, she's in charge of the trip.
Yeah.
Do you think, because I think this, do you think that Bluestone Manor was meant to be the backdrop? I love how Jill was like, the last people got Turks and Caicos, and we got effing Bluestone Manor.
That's what Thomas said when we started watching. He's like, wait, where are they? The other people are on a beach.
It seems a little cruel. But I felt like it was meant to be the backdrop, and I feel like Dorinda took control, and they were just kind of like, well, actually, that could bring some drama, so they let it go.
Yeah, maybe they're, okay, because it was
Did they mean for her to host it?
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe they're like, well, here's a place we can do it.
Right.
And Dorinda likes to show it off, but then she totally, now she's planning every activity.
Control. And this, so there's this episode of Full House where Danny Tanner has this clipboard of fun, and they can't do anything that's not on the clipboard of fun, and everyone hates the clipboard of fun, and they keep trying to get rid of it. And it's I felt like Dorinda was like that. If we don't do my 4 check marks a day, then this whole trip is ruined, and you guys ruined everything.
And it all seemed like a walk through Dorinda's life.
Oh, yes.
The whole trip was just...
It was. Her reminiscing.
Yes, exactly. It's this is where I worked. Yeah. Oh, this is how we celebrate Christmas.
I hit my head on this wall.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess it should be noted that, Tamara, Vicky, and Dorinda weren't ready to be done as housewives.
Yeah.
Tamara, I know it came as a big shock. And Vicky's been at the OC since the beginning of Housewives started.
Yeah, so it's even though she's new to me, I know who she is because she's just the original housewife.
So Dorinda of those 3 seems like the least of a surprise to be fired, but she wasn't fired. She was put on a pause. She's like, Andy put me on a pause. It was on a pause. She's like, I hate being wishy-washy. It's like, you're being wishy-washy. You were fired, Dorinda. Yeah. I don't know. Do you think she was on pause?
No. I don't think they put people on pause.
No. I don't think you're on or you're off. Yeah.
Or there's no like purgatory.
You're fired. Because of Dorinda too, it's like, I just think that it was her drinking too.
Yeah.
That caused the majority of the problems. Like, do you think that's a fair statement?
Yes. But she was also, even when she wasn't drinking.
No, she was cruel.
She's still kind of mean.
She was Cruella de Dorinda.
She does. I could totally see her wearing like a puppy dog
coat in the closet.
She does. Does she have a dog? She didn't have a dog, did she?
No, because it's her.
No, who has a house that big and doesn't have a dog?
Uh-huh.
There's something wrong with
that
her.
much land and
stuff.
And people to watch and yeah.
Kyle would have had like 50 dogs.
Oh, she would have. At least.
And no, I think the whole thing is just Dorinda, where she says, my biggest insecurity is being irrelevant. Yes. So she just always has to make herself part of everything, no matter even what the cost.
Tiny things.
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't even. It's like, oh, I got a paper cut. I got a paper cut once in 1982, and it turned into the flu, and I almost died. Come here, it was this tree to the left. The thing that I hated the most, and I think I texted you when it came up, but I remember I started watching this again because I'd seen it before you, and I was watching it, and I thought, I don't know why I would have been ragging, because I said to you, like, I'm kind of dreading watching this. I was so mad at Dorinda when I watched it. I almost don't know if I can watch it again. And as I was in the first few episodes, I was like, okay, this is fun. I don't know why I was being such a wet blanket about this. Then we got to this issue that we're going to discuss, and I was like, I remember, like, it's all came flooding back, and I was so mad, and I was like, I hate Dorinda.
Kayla did. She texted me, and I said, I'm starting season 2. And she goes, every now and again, just yell, I hate you, Dorinda, at the TV.
That's how you have to watch this. I'm sorry. That's the requirement.
Yes.
So, Dorinda made plaques. And it's not the rules that are the problem. Because like she said, no shoes in the house. Oh, I was going to take my shoes off before I came to your house and I forgot.
Yeah, I'm a no shoes in the house person.
I know. And I always tell myself I'm going to remember. And then I have something to tell you.
It's okay for you.
I know. I think you still love me.
I feel like your shoes are probably not as gross as other people's shoes.
Thank you. Oh, that makes me feel sweet. But then the other one is no eating in the upstairs bedrooms.
Because she's afraid of mice.
Right. Can I tell you? So we talked about this outline yesterday or a couple of days ago. I went home. I get into my bedroom. David let the kids have popcorn in our bedroom. It was all over the floor in front of the TV. And then one of them had gone to throw it in the bathroom trash. It had fallen out of the trash. There was popcorn all around our toilet. Oh. And all I could think of is like Dorinda, the spirit of Dorinda is punishing me because I wore shoes in Sharon's house. And then also I said, I hate Dorinda. Like, yes. This is what happened. It's like, I just felt haunted by the spirit of evil Dorinda.
Okay, because so I'm with the no shoes in the house.
Oh, and I know crummies.
The no food in the bed. Like I think there's something really nice about eating in bed.
No crummies in bed.
Like coffee.
No crummies in bed. No.
Chocolate.
What happens if you spill it?
There's washing machine.
Because you have girls. If you have boys, you'd say no crummies in bed.
And then like watching TV is like perfect.
I'll do it in the hotel, but even still, the comforter suite all the way up.
Yeah. What if Dorinda lived in a studio apartment?
Right.
What would she do? Where would she eat?
That's true. Well,
where would she walk?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess she'd have no fun at all. But
I don't think she has fun.
I don't think she does anyway, I was going to say. So I think that Vicky could use some understanding as we go into the scenario because like she had been really sick. She'd had COVID. She still seemed sick. Like she went to the urgent care. Tamra also, was kind of friends with Vicky. And I think they were both kind of under some stress because she was helping Vicky talk through her relationship problems. Mm-hmm. So Vicky was also dumped right before the trip, like the day before, I think it was.
Yeah.
And so, I think they were just a little on edge. Like that room was stressful. They had to share a room too, and it wasn't a big bed. So Dorinda has a plaque, which to be fair to Tamra, was hard to see in that room because it was so cluttered. There were so many frames. Like I looked and it was really hard to see. B, Dorinda put cupcakes in the room, like as a welcome gift. So you don't leave food in a room that you don't want someone to eat in.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair. And then C, Marcus, the house manager, brought them parfaits. So it's like he was rubber stamping it's okay to have food in the room.
Yeah, because he said like, "Oh, I thought the rules were on pause."
On pause.
Because sometimes when you have guests, you know, you like. But like when you have guests, you maybe allow, like if people come over at Christmas, I don't make them all take their shoes off. You know?
And I do feel like there's a difference between like, you like your everyday family rules, or because you have to live with those people in and out, and you're the one cleaning and all. Mm-hmm. But like when you have guests, you're just like, I'm glad to have somebody here. Whatever, you know, like it's not the same thing. Well, Dorinda doesn't believe it. So she says to Tamara, like, the housekeeper found food in your room. And Tamara's like, oh, I didn't know that was a rule. I'm so sorry. Now that I know, no problem. So Dorinda, I'm going to go get the plaque. Tamara's like, we don't need the plaque. Like, we're fine. Dorinda gets it and reads it. And it's essentially this dressing down of Tamara. Mm-hmm. Like, and she says, I don't know how you people live, or I don't know how you do it in the OC. Like, Vicky's right. Like, Dorinda doesn't make people feel welcome. And it's shocking because her book is called Make It Nice.
Yes.
And all she does is make it unnice. She's a terrible hostess.
It's so funny because she wanted to be such a good hostess. Yeah. You could see she was trying. But then mean. Her just basic behaviors
It was aggressive. Like, I felt uncomfortable. Like, I would have crumbled. And Tamara crumbled, which shocked me because she often picks fights in the OC. Like, she's really strong. She lets people say awful things to her. Huh. And, like, I think it was because Dorinda was so condescending.
Yes.
Because she kind of held herself in the banter. She was kind of like, let it go, whatever. Yeah. But then when she started to cry, then Dorinda was like, oh, you're crying. I'm crying. And it was like a toddler fighting another little kid when Dorinda did that. It was like, how old are you?
Well, I thought she was 80, but she's like, we'll talk about that later.
Turns out she's a little bit younger than 80. Maybe something was wrong with her meds or something. It's just like she mocks Tamara, and I think that's why Tamara cries.
It was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and Tamara apologized, and then Dorinda like purposefully misunderstands her, and I think that's what's so cruel. When you hear somebody, which she heard her, and then she's like, well, if that's the rule, and Tamara's like, I never said that was the rule at my house. Like, you're being mean. And then she tells them not to come to aerobics, which is her 80s aerobics thing. Okay, and I looked it up because you were like, this can't be a thing.
Yeah.
No, it's a thing. She did it during quarantine, like on YouTube or something. Oh, and she does it for like charity events. I guess she used to be a yoga instructor.
Oh my God.
But anyway, she dresses in these awful outfits and makes like everyone aerobic.
It makes them aerobic.
Wait, like Richard Simmons, but he was like a genuinely nice person,
he was so happy.
He was like Mr. Rogers does aerobics. Like, this is like Cruella DeVille does aerobics. You're dressed crazy, you are crazy, and you're mean.
Wait, so do you have to subscribe to the YouTube stuff, or is it free?
It depends, but I think it's free.
Okay.
So I guess she's not making much on. She probably has merch.
Yeah, she probably has.
We got to get on merch. Somebody we should call Dorinda and ask. But then I felt so bad because they were like purposefully purging their room of food.
Yes.
And they were like in fear.
They were like Vicky and Tamara. They were like, oh my gosh, so you didn't make your bed right. Or, oh, you got some makeup right there on the comforter. Quick.
Like, hurry, hide it. Put your shoes away. Take this away. Like, make sure there's no crumb in here. Like, the Grinch will find it. And even if it's too small for the mouse.
That's like the worst vacation feeling ever, you know?
It's like they should have just stayed at a hotel.
Yeah.
Okay, then they don't go to Dorinda's aerobics. That's kind of hard. It's like a tongue twister. Like, they don't go to it. And Tamara's kind of like, well, we're in trouble if we go. We're in trouble if we don't go. We were told not to go. But of course, Dorinda pretends like, why didn't you come? You ruined everything. We had such a great time. And like, then the other women were totally sucking up to her. Like, do you think they were sucking up to her? Or do you think it was something else?
You know, I hadn't thought of that, but maybe. I don't know. It was all so weird.
I felt like at first they were sucking up to her, but then I thought, like, maybe they were just avoiding it.
Yeah, maybe they're just kind of, what's that word? Placate?
Or, just like, so that
don't want to deal with her.
Yeah. But I do think everyone had some level of fear of Dorinda, which is not a good not housekeeping, but a hostess moment. So the other person she kind of gets into it, we'll just touch on it briefly, but I think it's Suzalette. She gets into it with Jill. And it's basically like a Housewives off. Like, Jill was there first, then Dorinda was there. Did Dorinda offer enough opportunities for Jill to come back and film? And but Jill has some really strong things to say. Like, she says her behavior's intolerable, which, and that she's afraid of Dorinda because she's not predictable, and you never know what you're going to get. And then Dorinda keeps calling Jill thirsty, which doesn't every housewife have a level of thirst to want to be famous and on a show? I think that's unfair.
They all, for everyone fame, and then they all have
something.
their products that they shill.
Exactly. So I do feel like singling her out, her supposedly oldest friend, kind of says something about Dorinda. Like,
it wasn't nice. It was kind of making like, it was like kind of like the other time, condescending.
Yeah. And you could just tell she thinks she's better than everybody.
And mocking her. Yes, that's it. She thinks she's better.
It's just like when she goes up in the hot air balloon. All I could think of is like, in The Lion King, where they're like, when like Simba's dad is showing him their lands. Oh, and he's like everything the light touches is yours. So it's like when Dorinda's up in the hot air balloon, and it was either Jill or somebody who's like, Dorinda when she's going to get a kick out of seeing her lands. And she's like, this is all mine, and I kept it together, which is great. But again, like, stop making it about you and like, we can't even have a hot air balloon ride.
Well, I thought, I also have to mention, I thought it was weird that the hot air balloon didn't go anywhere.
Hot air balloon rise.
I know. It's not ride.
It was more like like at the fair where it's like, you just get to go up once and then come down.
I didn't understand. What did she mean by like, I was able to keep it? I didn't think I would.
I think she means because Richard's money had been keeping it afloat. And then when her husband died, I guess it was like that she was still able to pay the taxes and keep the house running.
Oh, I just assumed she's still crazy rich. Okay.
I think he was like a big banker. So I think there was probably a loss of money for her. Although it didn't seem like, because she kept that house and she had the apartment in New York. Didn't seem like she was hurting, but maybe she just meant, like, she had to remodel it when it flooded and stuff. I got the vibe that she felt like having to do it without a partner, just like life in general, was hard, and that she felt like anything she did solo was like a huge win, which I get, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. Speaking about people who are jerks about things. But maybe not as cruel. So Brandy, let's do our Brandy's versus. So I think Brandy's bottom line is that she has a weak filter, low self-esteem, and then when she drinks, she has no filter.
Yeah. Like, do you think she has low self-esteem? That's interesting. I hadn't thought of it, but now that you say it, I'm kind of like...
that's what I've always thought. I feel like a lot of what she says is kind of like, look at me, be cool. I want to be cool. Like, I don't feel like it's eyes on me like Dorinda, where it's like, I want you to praise me. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like Brandy's uncomfortable when she's praised. Like, if someone says, oh, you look nice or whatever, she's kind of like, oh, okay. Like, she doesn't make a big deal about it. So I feel like she's uncomfortable with that, but at the same time, she's not comfortable enough in her skin to not like try to be so funny that then it's mean. Yeah. And that I just think she's like she doesn't have a good inner monologue. And then her external monologue's even worse. So Brandy and Taylor are the first point of contention. So they have previous Beverly Hills drama. And Taylor was in a bad situation. There was abuse. Her husband committed suicide. It was a whole awful issue, kind of trigger warning issue. Brandy then goes, as they're talking about it, oh, that was like one of the worst years of my life too.
It's like, you cannot compare. You can't
do that.
Anything you went through.
What is with Beverly Hills women and doing this?
I know.
Like, the whole Sutton thing. It's like, okay, no. Yeah, I mean, like, you can't, apples to oranges. You can't compare those. And then Brandy kind of digs in more, and like during the reunion of that year of Beverly Hills, she had it out for Taylor about writing a book quickly. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why Brandy doesn't understand that. Like, obviously Taylor knew that her husband had done some shady stuff, I think, with the finances. Like, she was hurting for money. She wrote the book to make money. It was the moment her publisher told. And then Brandy used that against her. Like, why were you, again, thirsty? Kind of like, why would you write a book so fast? And that hurt Taylor's feelings, and rightfully so. Yeah. So they never cleared this stuff up, and they didn't really clear it up. And so I think it's a gray cloud that hangs over them the whole time. Do you think?
Yeah, and I think that Taylor, it's like, why would that be bad? He ruined her life. No. She should be able to say whatever she wants whenever she wants about it.
Yeah. I mean, this guy was terrible to her, like physically, mentally, all of it.
Exactly.
And so I don't even understand what side Brandy was taken up for in that. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think the guy deserves any respect at all.
Or even that much discussion.
Yeah. And she needed the money. I'd say use him for everything.
I think so.
That's the only thing he was good for.
Phaedra tells Brandy that she has a good heart, but she needs to watch her mouth, tone it down, be kind, and be a good citizen. I liked that for some reason. Because, like, not Taylor, but Phaedra is awesome. I know. But I think that's it. I feel like it parallels what happens with Dorinda in a lot of the I'm drunk and I say things that I shouldn't say. At the same time, with Brandy, do you feel like the motivation is different?
I don't think that Brandy is as mean.
I think so, too.
But Dorinda, I don't think necessarily goes out to attack. She's just so mean that she attacks.
I just feel like it's in her nature.
Yes.
She just has a genuine gift to be mean.
Yeah. Whereas Brandy, I just don't fully get her because I think she wants to be friends with people.
I think so too. And I feel like she's kind of like tried, and there's just something gets off with her. And again, I think drinking doesn't agree with her either. I wrote, there's 2 reasons that we really like Brandy though. Diet Coke cans at breakfast.
Yes.
Remember there was like a bunch lined up. I was like, that's what I had this morning too, breakfast of champions. And then when they're doing the sound baths, they're out like making the noise in the bowls. And Brandy's like, do I like sound baths? No, I don't even like real baths. It's like basting in your own juices. And I was like, yes, that's how Sharon and I feel. Like shower, we're hashtag team shower.
Yeah.
Baths are the worst.
Baths
Sorry, people
gross.
who use them to relax. They don't relax us. They just make us think of basting in our own juices. I can't. I can't even. So Brandy's also responsible for 2 great quotes. The first is, the second actually is at the Red Lion Inn. So we'll get to that. But the first is at the Haunted Mansion coffee reader. Brandy asks the chef if his wife is a lesbian.
Yeah.
That's not the great quote. It's cringe.
Yeah. But then Phaedra or someone says, like, what
Phaedra,
makes you think she was a lesbian? And then Brandy goes, her eyebrows.
Just so matter like that.
And Phaedra just laughs so hard. And when Phaedra laughs, you have to laugh.
You can't not. And what's interesting is Brandy and Jill, when I watch What Happens Live, I caught it randomly. And they were doing a game and they did like guess the eyebrows to see whether Brandy could guess if they were lesbian eyebrows or not.
Oh, how'd she do?
They asked her and they were like, Brandy's like, well, I can't, there's not a thing. I just have to see them and I'll tell you. She did really well. She got 8 out of 10 right.
Oh my gosh.
And Jill like did not do as well. So I guess she legitimately knows.
That's interesting.
I know. So Red Lion Inn, which is not related to the chain, I Googled. I couldn't find it related. Because I was just like...
Yeah, because I was like, man, our Red Lion is nothing like this.
No. There was a thing that said the Red Lion kind of represented the British Crown for some reason, like maybe back on the East Coast. They are sitting down at this Red Lion Inn, which is where Dorinda used to work back in the old days because we're on tour to Dorinda's childhood, apparently.
Yes, that's right.
God, I hope she doesn't come out with a book about her childhood. Taylor asked Brandy if she regrets outing Adrian, another Beverly Hills cast member, for using a surrogate when Adrian wasn't ready to tell her kids. So she aired it on national TV before the kids had been told. Taylor's pretty drunk when she's talking to Brandy. And then Brandy's like, look, this doesn't involve us directly. Adrian and I are cool now. But then Dorinda gets into it. She gets into it with Brandy because she says that Taylor is just like Jill and Dorinda and she only cares about popularity. And then Brandy goes real low and says to Taylor, like, well, were you successful? Like, because your husband, and she kind of trails off, but everyone knows, like, she's referring to his death. And that is so low. It's one of those moments where you're like, Brandy, I can't. It's like with Sutton, I can't back you up. When I know you didn't go into this wanting to be a terrible person. And she tried to leave the room. Like, twice she got up and left. Like, she was trying, but she just can't stop her mouth when she drinks. But she comes back in and she's kind of calmed down. Everyone's calmed down. But Dorinda now can't let it go. It's like Taylor had kind of let it go. And now Dorinda gets even lower and goes, she brings Brandy's kids into it. And she's like, well, what if something happened to your kid? And Dorinda's like slurring. And they just said, like, don't bring up the kids. And Dorinda brings up the kids. So Brandy walks away again, which I was kind of shocked. Like, I was impressed that she had the wherewithal to get up and leave. But do you want to do the best quote moment?
It's the best thing.
I just want to hear you do it.
So Brandy is at the bar and Phaedra comes up to, like, what do you call it? Comfort her?
Yeah.
Brandy says, I'm going to murder her. And Phaedra says, that lady could be your mama. You can't do that. And then Brandy says, no, she's only 5 years older than me. And then Phaedra goes, for real? Oh, and then they laugh. They're just like, for real? Like, I just laugh. And Phaedra laughs so
They're
hard.
Like holding on to each other, shaking.
Like hysterical. And then they pan over to the bartender, and the bartender is laughing.
And he has his back turned to them like I think he thought Bravo didn't catch him laughing, but he was losing it. And I can't believe she's only 5 years older. I think it's more like 8 when I Googled it, but still.
She looks like she's in her upper 70s, I would say.
I'm shocked.
To put her and Brandy in the same age gap?
I mean, I'm with Phaedra. I think she looks like she could have been her mom.
She does.
But, like, we learned that 2 wrongs don't make a right, Dorinda. And the day after the Red Lion Inn, Dorinda brushes things under the rug. And she's like, okay, well, we're fine. And she does actually apologize. And the only reason I bring that up is that I wish the other women had said to Dorinda earlier on, the way you're acting isn't okay, get it together. Because they finally kind of like had enough and they're done. And then when they say that to her, Dorinda does kind of roll it back in, although she had gotten drunk and canceled Christmas like the Grinch she is. And Brandy does say like, why are you so mad? Like it happens every day to one of us. And then Dorinda does that thing she does where she flips it. You know how we kind of said like there was Ramona lighting. This is Dorinda lighting. It's like a big Housewives thing. And she kind of says like, oh, I ruined it. And I'm just so bad. And it's like, again, how do you argue that? Don't do that. Just be sorry. Don't woe is me it away. I can't stand that. Because it's like, I'm tired of Dorinda's like reign of terror. And like Vicky's right. Dorinda targets people. Like that's what she does. It's not a situation. It's not a thing. Like she picks a person, she goes after them.
You're right.
Because even after she apologizes to Brandy, like I'm just thinking ahead to the end, they're at that Shaker Village, which is like the oldest gardens. And like Brandy says something like, well, what is she jokes about something like, well, we should all be quiet or not yell at people or something. And then Dorinda throws out everything that Brandy had done. Like you joked about this, you drank too much, the dress, the and it's like, for crying out loud. She has to attack that person until she like gets whatever vengeance she has to exact from it. I don't know.
And that's like a really good point, the whole person, that situation. Because when I think about this trip, I'm like, there was all this fighting. And if you ask me specifically what, I mean, there's some stuff, but it's like, there's like not many reasons other than Dorinda is a mean person.
Where Vicky says, they could rather get a UTI than walk to the bathroom alone with Dorinda. Ditto, Vicky. Okay, so I think the only other thing that is still of importance is there's some hot gossip that comes out of Ultimate Girls Trip 2. And that is the Denise Gate issue. So Denise Richards had been a housewife on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She left because of essentially Denise Gate. There was this... Brandy said that she and Denise had kind of an affair. Denise denies it, says that she didn't. Brandy's like, well, you told me that your husband was cool with it and it was okay. And she wondered if he wasn't cool with it. And so Denise lied. We never really get a resolve on who's right. It's just a complete she says, she said. It comes up and Tamara says, yeah, I've been friends with Denise for 10 years. She told me she didn't do it. She called me after it and said, Brandy's lying. And Tamara admits that she believes Brandy.
Yeah, that was big.
Yeah. I was sort of shocked by that. And then she said something happened at BravoCon that Denise hit on Tamara. Yeah. And that Denise team denies it. But Tamara's like, I had to turn her down a lot. Yeah. I have all these texts. And she's kind of like, Denise, stop it. I'm married.
Yeah.
Like, leave me alone. So I was shocked. Like,
yeah, because you figure her friend of that many years.
And she had no reason to be on Brandy's side. Like, they actually had fought on Instagram and stuff. So there's no love lost there.
And that was really...
So it felt real that Tamara said that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and I liked getting that info because I remember debating with you way back and I was like, do you think they did? And I wasn't really sure. I'm like, why would Brandy lie about that? But then maybe...
Yeah, but then I think Brandy doesn't always get a lot of credibility. So it was kind of a nice moment for Brandy to get a little bit of someone believing her. And Denise is returning in a friend capacity to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So I wonder if it'll come back up or... That'll probably get swept under the rug, but I liked having that information.
Yeah, I did too.
Did you have any favorite parts of this? Mine was the vintage sort of Tamara and Vicky stuff. Like, they used to be really good friends. They kind of go up and down. But it's like they were just so together. And I loved when Vicky choked on the horse pill. I don't know, that sounds bad. But like Tamara saves her and then it's just like Vicky's like, you saved me. And then Tamara's like, I broke my boob. Yeah, I know. It just felt like Vicky didn't, like, she just didn't bring a lot of the drama or the fun. She just was kind of out of it. And like for one brief moment, there was like this shining... like Tamara and Vicky moment. I don't know. I just had to throw that out there.
For me, it's like the whole thing was like a miserable downer. Not that I didn't enjoy the season, but the parts with Phaedra were my favorite.
Yeah. She just, every time she walked into a scene, she turned it around. Like, yeah. She did a great job. So I think our takeaway of Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2 is that, and Vicky was, I think it was Vicky who said, the problem with this whole episode is that, or this whole I guess,
season.
Yeah. Is that no one should have been the boss and we should have been in a neutral location.
Definitely.
And absolutely. Because
it gave Dorinda too much power.
Yes, exactly. Dorinda's the type of person who can't not try to be in control. And if you also put it on her turf,
yeah,
like, what do you expect? Obviously, she's going to take the ball, run with it. I was surprised they didn't have like a whole episode around the tree of her husband. Like, I thought she was going to make everyone go out because she mentioned we're going to decorate the tree or something. They didn't show that.
Oh.
I bet she drug everybody out to that tree and they all had to talk to Richard. What do you think? Do you think? I
feel like you said it made me laugh.
I feel like 97% sure.
Like, everyone had to leave a message.
Everyone had to bring like an offering to the tree. Okay, this is how I see it happening. But it's like we've seen so many Housewives shows where it's like they fight over who's the host, and we're always like, why is this an issue? But I think it's because it puts you in that role of power.
Yeah.
Because I think it puts you in the role of responsibility, and I'm kind of like, I don't want to be the host.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't want to be in charge of all the problems. But I guess it also gives you the ability to like lord it over your peasants that way, like Queen Dorinda and the peasants of the other housewives.
Let me show you how wonderful my manor and my land is.
Exactly. You know. So let's put Dorinda back on pause, like permanent delete pause. I'm afraid they're going to bring her back for legacy, and I don't want that.
I don't think so.
Yuck. Yeah. Well, that was Ultimate Girls Trip 2, and we're going to dive into 3 coming up, so that'll be exciting. And go ahead and like us, send us to a friend, help us get out there. We want to get out into the world. Follow us. That would be helpful. Yes. Because remember, housewives bring the drama.
And we bring the receipts.
Bye. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to help support us, please share it with others and leave a rating and review. Also, visit us on Instagram and Twitter, both at RH_on_RH for fun pictures and polls, or email us at rhonrhpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, and remember to stay out of the shade.